How on earth is Warner Brothers continuing to dump money into this absolutely dead game? $200 million verifiably has been lost. A $400 million commitment. And Warner Brothers, hey, they ended up winning 2023 with the highest selling game, the biggest and most controversial mover, Hogwarts Legacy, only to follow it up with the biggest bomb in gaming in 2024, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the fact that they're still trying to update it to see if anybody cares. Spoilers, nobody does. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Episode 2 is here with minimal content. Oh, hi, Paul. We just recently talked about you. Let's see what you have to say about the Suicide Squad game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had made many baffling decisions since its conception and release. Yeah, disrespecting a beloved icon who had passed on from the DC animated universe and what would end up being his final video game outing. Yeah, not exactly a winning proposition off rip. And then, of course, to have baffling dialogue decisions in your game, to have repetitive, outdated gameplay in hopes that that would keep people's attention for your live service game, which has already fallen out of favor with a lot of people. So yeah, very baffling is one way to say it. But to add to a list breaking up seasons into 2 episodes, yeah, that's kind of stupid, because it wasn't that long ago where we talked about the fact that the Joker, the first DLC character, didn't do anything. The most famous villain, perhaps, I would say probably the most famous villain in the DC Pantheon, couldn't move units for you. Well, of course, because he found the only way to make it more cringe than Jared Leto's interpretation. Didn't do anything but to break it up into 2. So theoretically, right, because there were, 13 additional plans to run through and fight the ultimate big bad Brainiac at the end. There were lofty aspirations for this game, and it was dead within a couple of weeks. I don't know if this was an artificial way of thinking that if you just buy season passes, battle passes, whatever the hell they're calling them, breaking them up into 2 halves, that would somehow keep people around because they could play the first half of the content and then get another fix with another half of the content. You can see this model more than likely is going to end up being the next invention of the battle pass system, where you break things up even further so that you can sell the first and second half of the original battle pass, which all this stuff is so garbage. Just play games that are complete, for God's sakes. But let's take a look at what's been added to this, because nobody's going to be playing it in order to experience it. One which takes somewhat anemic content additions and stretches them out uncomfortably. What that means here is that we are now in the 2nd episode of the Suicide Squad's Joker season. One which launches with 1 new boss fight, great, and apparently 0 real story missions. Oh my god. Now, episode 2 launches with 1 new boss fight and similarly minimal story content outside of storyboard cutscenes or 2. Fantastic stuff. Really not too dissimilar to what Capcom is doing with Street Fighter 6. Like, I don't know, because Akuma just launched, and it's like, why is Akuma not a part of the main cast for Street Fighter 6? He's arguably, outside of Ryu, maybe the most, Ryu and Chun-Li perhaps, the most recognizable and the most famous Street Fighter characters. But oh yeah, no, that's so that you could sell battle passes, you could sell season passes for the game. But I took a look at the content that's on display, and outside of doing a fun little battle hub gimmick to begin with for the first couple of weeks, you gave him a story, you gave him an arcade mode story that lasts. And I watched Maximilian Dudes, shout out to him, his playthrough of it. And from the minute that he pressed go to the minute that he finished Akuma's story, it was 12 minutes. And I understand that Max is an expert fighting game player, but a 12-minute, 3 storyboard cutscene story does not quite equate to whatever Capcom is asking for the price of the DLC for Akuma. Like, holy crap, man, these companies are so goddamn greedy, but people pay. People bought the horse armor back in the cut, and now, well, now you got mobile game features in your $70 AAA, in some cases quadruple A experiences, and it ain't gonna stop. But yeah, you can get a Superman Brainiac boss fight, modified campaign fight. But Superman becomes even more of a bullet sponge after he has more control from Brainiac, because that was in the story mode, right? A Two-Face villain gear set to the Notorious gear. Okay, I'd argue stacking this up in front of the seasonal launch would have been better. Green Lantern infused enemies, Promontiate, the enemies that buff enemies. Oh, okay, cool. A new mission type, Out of Orbit, which has you switch dimensions to take over control points. A large balance patch. Well, yeah, that shouldn't be a part of any sort of season. That should just be there if your game is unbalanced. We'll go ahead and fix that shit, right? This is it, really. Oh, Paul, you're not telling the entire story, because guess what? They have more planned content, and they got a little tease out there. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League patch adds a Mrs. Freeze tease. No, that's not a typo, by the way. Okay, they're gonna try to trot out a gender-changed Dr. Freeze. I guess he's the doctor, but it is Mr. Freeze, right? But you got Mr. Freeze, if you know, okay, my big point of reference is, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Batman and Robin's interpretation. But isn't his entire motivation in service of his wife that ended up falling extremely ill? So what, is she gonna end up, especially in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League's universe, is she gonna become so OP that she cured her own illness and now she's out there to exact revenge? Like what are we doing? An alleged first look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's Mrs. Freeze, accused of promoting transgenderism. No, this just used to be a good old... Oh my God! Well, yeah, of course, I would go ahead and say that it's more than just your simple run-of-the-mill sex change that comic book fans have been inundated with, and the few people that are still remaining that haven't actually just been fem-swapped in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yo, what the hell, man? That's of all of the designs that you could go with, huh? The round face brush cut, interesting. Does she lug around her ice crystals in a U-Haul? Is her cold suit sponsored by Subaru by any chance? Like, what the hell, man? An alleged first look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's upcoming new character, Mrs. Freeze, is being accused of promoting transgenderism. Does this really entice you to get into Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League if you weren't on that bandwagon to begin with? Yeah, I didn't think so. The alleged first look was shared to the subreddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors. All right. Ex-user Manga Lawyer. Oh, we've used some of his stuff before. Shout out to him. Reacted to this first look, writing on X. Rocksteady, the developers behind, yes, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, transformed Mr. Freeze into a non-binary Karen, they, them. This is wild. In a subsequent post, the user added, I predicted this before the game's release, and the backlash was intense. They perceived femininity and female anatomy as threats to society. Well, yeah, they could go with Poison Ivy. Oh, right, no, they already included her in the story, made her a kid, and made Harley Quinn even more cringe and more of a groomer. Very odd choices that they've made with this game all the way around. Now they've made a character transgender. Take note of Mrs. Freeze's chest. That's not a woman. Yeah, you could argue a couple of things, but I don't really think anything's off the table at this point in time. The recent release of Season 1, Episode 2 update. So stupid. Players spotted a tease for Mrs. Freeze. Ex-user Arkham Videos showed a portion of the map that is frozen over and a sign that reads, Ho ho, frozen chicken bites. That's not even a good Mr. Freeze pun, for God's sakes, okay? You should have just went full pants on head stupid and went, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! That would have been so much better, man. Come on. Freeze has previously been hinted at. Reddit user Zeronity Plays shares a video of Brainiac referring to his Harley Quinn player as Freeze. Okay. In reaction to videos and others like it, Miller Ross claims it's a tease for a character named Victoria Freeze. Fantastic. He wrote, saw this making the rounds today. Yeah, it seems like Brainiac's incidental combat banter featuring Victoria got mistorted and given to Harley by accident. Oh my God, so it's even more poorly made than we thought? Holy shit, man. It's quite likely that Manga Lawyer's accusation is correct. Back in 2020, while Naughty Dog, oh my God, and they've been saying some stupid stuff lately. I was about to release The Last of Us Part 2, an alleged seasoned artist informed Sausage Roll that the video game developer was making a female character look like a man to placate adherence to transgender ideology. No, that's just Neil Druckmann's pet project, but like I said, he's been making some stupid claims here lately, and we'll have to talk about that piece of garbage in the very near future. The artist noted, it's not really about the sexual objectification of women. Women, like men, come in all shapes and sizes. To say that having a big busty woman is unrealistic is untrue. Yeah, they come in all shapes and sizes. It's just, when it comes to Western developers, man, they aren't really interested in having a Tifa. They aren't really interested in having an Eve from Stellar Blade. They're more interested in having an Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. They're more interested in having Victoria Freeze with, I don't know, frozen chest binders, because obviously, you know, if you got to keep your body that cold, you got to make sure that there's additional padding over the chest. Otherwise, it wouldn't just be the diamonds powering the eye suit, okay? It'd be them nipples that are that hard that could go ahead and be, you know, adequate stand-ins, because, hell, if you're going to pretend to be a woman, I think that'll pass. Why not just an excessively cold breeze to stimulate adequate hardness? But yeah, man, this is definitely 100% going to rejuvenate the Kill the Justice League player base, okay? Nothing quite screams attempted outrage in order to, you know, drum up some attention quite like this. But yeah, here's the thing, man. People are actually going to have to be aware of your game in a few months' time in order for them to react to it. And outside of a couple of offhanded remarks or maybe a couple of laughs at the expense of Warner Brothers, Rocksteady continuing to jettison any remaining goodwill or, hell, money at this point in time, really not going to work out well for you. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.